Out for a normal stroll. When I say stroll, it's normally about 8 miles. Sorry, I should have said hello. Good afternoon. It's about lunchtime. It's our local walk. What we do. It's very, very slushy underfoot. We've had a lot of frost and well below freezing last night, but the sun's been hitting the ground and warming it up, and it's now turned into a sludge pie. But a beautiful day. If you've seen some of the other videos in the past, you've probably seen this when it's been snowy or very white with heavy frost. It's a nice circuit. There's a bit of town walking, a bit of canal walking, and then I'll let them loose in the fields, burn a lot of energy off. Because that's what Mals need. Belgian Malinois is a very hyper dog, and if it isn't doing something, then it will start getting stressed and destructive and disobedient. I would let Rogue off, but she's still young, and there's walkers and other people with dogs, and 3 dogs loose, it can turn a bit hectic. So Stella's calm, Rebel's not too bad. Once you kind of give him a couple of shouts, he starts switching on. But Rogue and Rebel together on the path might be a bit too much. I thought I'd show you the views. You always see us when we're in Scotland and in the mountains, but we do have some nice spots locally, thank God, without getting in a car, which is nice. Say hello to Madness. This is what Mals play like. Sounds bad. You'll hear see a lot of teeth and but not a graze on them. Trust me. Even I have to look sometimes because I think, God, they've gone too hard at it. But no. It's just a crazy breed. So you can imagine what they're like if they were fighting, couldn't you? Dear oh dear. I don't know why she does that. She's having a pee and she cocks one rear leg. Rebel, foos. Foos. He's in the muck in there. Stubborn dog. Get out. Like big kids, they have to get in all the mud, all the mess. And I don't know where Stella is. Stella's not an angel herself. She's as bad as them. This way. Want them out in the open where they can't get in any problems. You'll hear a lot of barking and look at them. Now you see why I take them to the mountains and give them such long distances and such adventures. They need it. Here we've been getting, as I say, freezing nights and lovely sunny days. Still a nip in the air. But Scotland's milder, wet and very windy, so not ideal for hiking or camping. I want to do a hot tent on the next one. I bought myself a new stove for my birthday, which is in a couple of months' time. And get the old Rubens Fairbanks. I've used it before in Loch Dochart. Lovely tent. I'm just trying to figure out where to go. I want to go where there's snow, because I also got a sledge or a poke, or it will be a poke by the time I'm finished with it anyway. It's a sledge that they, a sled or sledge, I don't know how it's pronounced, but you know what I mean. A pulp we'll call it. It's what they use for when they shoot game like stags or whatever, and they drag them. So if it's strong enough for the dragging the stags, it'll be good enough for my kit. Feel a bit of a fraud really with Stella, because there I was a few months back saying that it was going to be our last adventure, and since I've done that, she's been nothing but better and better and better. And that's what happens when you change a vet and change medication. Obviously the previous vet and his medication was doing her no good. Not bad for a 12-year-old. I think we did 29.7 on that first day, and then blizzards and all that, and I tell you, she never left my side. Every time I stopped just for a breather, she'd nudge me arm. Always there, always by my side. Brilliant. Shows how strong the breed is, doesn't it? There's a river down the bottom there, so Rebel always likes to dive. It's amazing, isn't it? Don't like river crossings or anything, but I love diving in silly little rivers, small ones. Explain that to me, it doesn't make sense, does it? Main aim here is, I always find a field, because males are so crazy, anyone seeing them will either think they're fighting or they're aggressive dogs. So what I do, I always pick a field that's cut off from everyone else. There's barbed wire fence up there, it's been hooked up by someone. So I use this field. The farmer sealed all the edges off, because people used to come through with dogs in the past few months. So I've only got one in and one out, so I know no one can come in behind us or anything. So my dogs can do whatever they like in this field. I also use it for training, general running around and, you know, just burning that energy off. Here it comes, all wet and soaked. Rogue will not leave his side, it's ever so weird. If I called her now, she'll come, but she'll stop because she'll want to be with him. It's not because she's being disobedient, it's because if he's away, she wants to be near him. She'll wait till he gets a little bit further, and then she'll start running after him and more or less fly him. It's part of the game. Don't know what the game is, but it's part of it. Any minute now she'll launch herself out. No? Oh, she's been good today. Oh, wow. Oh. She normally flies at him and they then go screaming around the field again. He absolutely adores her as well. And that's the whole point when I got her, because I needed one to replace just in case I lost Stella because she was so ill. I didn't want him kind of having a big void in his life. It would be bad enough for me. I mean, look at it. Teeth, jaws. I've checked them after. I will check after. There won't be a graze on him. I don't think there's even a bit of hair off him. Looks good though, doesn't it? And poor Stella, she just sits there chewing a stick, minding her own business. But every now and then she turns feisty as well. Still stiff in the rear legs, as you saw getting up there, but she'll still walk the distances. When I first got Rogue, I was giving them Rogue and Rebel the long walks, and I was leaving Stella at home, and I was watching on the, I've got cameras in the house just to keep an eye on the dogs when I'm away, and she was whining and howling. She was not happy at all, hence why I went to another vet and decided to get a second opinion. He put on this new medication and she's just improved. Obviously you're going to get the stiffness and the arthritis and all that what a 12-year-old would have, but the improvement's unbelievable. And there I was on that last video when I was saying it was our last adventure, saying unless there's a miracle, I don't know what we'll be doing, you know what I mean? And we did have a miracle, which has been brilliant for me. But I've now got 3 males, and trust me, she can be still a bit feisty at times, so I have got my hands full at times, especially when you're loading them in cars and you know, getting kit ready when you that first morning when you after you've been driving all night. They'd been in the car maybe 10 hours, 11 hours, only had 2 short breaks, you know, to have a call of nature and a drink or some food. So when they come out the car that first morning when I'm in Scotland, they're full of energy, and of course I'm still tired from the drive. I'm trying to sort kit out. The weather's normally bad. If it's not bad, it's at least chilly and freezing. We sometimes meet someone here, and he's got a Mal, and Rebel likes to wait for her, but he doesn't realise she's not coming every day. He's got grass stuck in his collar. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you for a change, you know. You see all my adventures. I was looking back in the last one where we were in Magoo's. What happened that morning, I'd been checking the weather forecast at Glasgow, which was, I think it was 3:20. Nothing had changed. But once you push further on from Glasgow, you start losing reception as you get in the wilds when you're pushing further north. And they were warning about a snow bomb hitting the area. When I mean hitting the area, I mean all northern the Highlands and pushing towards Cairngorms. And that's what happened. We got hit by a snow bomb. Hence why I didn't realise. Hence why, when I was hiking along, things were getting worse and worse and worse, because ahead of us, the bomb had obviously been going across and hitting the area, but hadn't hit us yet. So when we started walking into the storm, or the bomb as such, it already dropped its heavy load. Hence why we were setting off. There was 2 or 3 inches, then it was getting 5 or 6. It wasn't so much about the snow that was falling around us, it was what fell in front of us as we were walking into it. That's what caught us out. But as I say, pulling a trolley through that kind of amount of snow is never going to work. Hence why I got this poke now. See, I'm covering all bases. Will it work? I don't know. We'll probably get stuck. But it was good fun. As I say, the scary bit was crossing the rivers. And I look on the video now and I see some of them clips I put on YouTube, and the river don't look that deep, but trust me, that middle one was waist deep. It was touching the base of my coat that was tied up at the bottom. So I know where it was. Hence why the sleeping bag got a bit wet, which was not good news. But very sketchy, that one. Yeah, this middle one. You could feel it pulling at your feet and pushing. And when I was saying to people lean into it, I don't mean lean into it square. So if the river was coming at me this way, I wouldn't lean in square. What I was doing, the river was coming to my left, and I was leaning with the poles to the left and still crossing it out kind of diagonal, if that makes sense. Sorry, I look back on my videos, and when I was chatting, and I also sounded a bit excited when I got over that river, and trust me, I was. Because I knew how iffy that one was. That was very risky. That was Rebel telling her off. She obviously did something. Go on, you! I just let it burn and burn and burn. I mean, look, Stella's soaked. See what I have to put up with. I mean, I try and protect her and keep her warm, and that water must be freezing. We've had ice all along the canal. Well, she's gone in it. Rogue, this way. Sorry, she's nipped through one of these fences on the side. I'll do some treats, some training in a minute. Just little stuff, nothing massive. I want these dogs to work out in the wilds and, as I say, in the mountains and all that. So I'm not looking for great obedience. I just want them to obey and do what I need them to do. They work brilliant as a team. As I said, both times going into Magoo's and coming out of Magoo's, as soon as the situation was getting a bit iffy and things were looking a bit risky, these just switched on. I didn't even have to worry about these. I mentioned she got swept, Rogue, the small one, got swept away in the river, and I turned my back and I told them to stay on the bank, but obviously she decided to go for it. So when I turned my head and looked over my shoulder, she was going down the river, only about 20-30 feet. But I was worried that she was going to get carried away, so I was keeping an eye on her to make sure I know where she dropped, you know what I mean? So that if she got off on the other side, I could find a way to get to her. But lo and behold, she scrambled up the rocks and big boulders and all that, and just shook herself and jumped up on the bank, and she was fine. But the funny thing is, on one of them, I got across with lead and I said stay over there, and all three were over there, and I went to get some more kit. I think it was the barrow I went to get, and I turned around and she'd gone across the river herself. Come back over, so I had to go back again to go and get her because she wouldn't come back over. So I did something like 7 trips on one. Yeah, it was a crazy adventure, but it was great fun. Now I look back at it now, it's a total experience. But as I say, I wouldn't want to do them every year. One maybe every now and then. You can only push your luck so much. Look at these. And that's, you see why I got him now. I got her now. Look at Stella. She's left alone. He's not bothering her. He would try all this stuff with her, and she used to do it. But now she's older, she can't. So she's now resting, look, and just having her own fun. But look at these two. As I say, there won't be a mark on them. Maybe a bit of grass. Look. The other day I had 2 people walking up and down with a dog in the other field, and they stopped, and I know they were looking over thinking, are them dogs fighting? Because it sounded like it. I'm used to it, but other people won't. Hence why you couldn't bring this breed into a park or something. You'd have telephone calls to the police. Everyone would be kind of complaining there's crazy dogs on the park and scaring everyone, which I don't blame them. They would scare everyone if they were doing that in the park, especially with the kids around. But no, it's just them letting steam off. Still, man, fingers are getting cold. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the right time to get back up. Hence, you know, you spend a lot of fuel and a lot of time driving and all that. You've got to make sure the weather's right, or the conditions are going to be right. Otherwise it's a waste of money, a waste of fuel. I don't want to go up just because I'm going up. I want to go up because we're going to have fun and enjoy it. And as I say, the days are getting longer up there. So I used to do 4 and 5. I'm now doing about 6 days, which is nice. It's like a holiday. Rebel! He likes to get through the water and all that, but I don't want him up there. Right, better give him some treats and kind of, I don't know, play the part of teasing and part of the game. Stella, you enjoying yourself with your stick there? I mean, look, not a scratch, not a mark on her. Same with him, look. Did you have fun? Look, they're calming down a bit now. We got that first bit off, hopefully. She's the one, the rascal, look. I mean, he just needs her to kind of start him off, that's all. But look, she won't sit still for long. Right, I better do some treats and training and the bits an owner's supposed to do. Can't just leave them to themselves all the time, can I? Go on, you. Don't have to be far. It just gets their noses going. Then you can make it further, you know, you can throw them further. So I'll toss the treats, they'll go searching, and then you can actually train them to do other things, like, you know, throw an item like keys or something like that and get them search for keys. But make sure it's an old set of keys, because if they don't find them and you lose them in the grass, you won't be getting home. I did that once. I put my car keys, I was walking along here and I dropped my car keys somewhere where I knew, but the grass was deeper. And then I walked off and I went down there and I said to the dogs, go and find my keys. And this is before I rode. And these two just didn't want to play the game that day. So I thought, right, I better go and get my car keys. I came up here and I couldn't remember where I dropped them. I knew I dropped them somewhere here. You know what I mean? I was searching, I was going like this with my feet, you know, kind of going through the grass. So here we got cut off, me and my chubby fingers. So here we go. Look, doesn't have to be far. You don't have to throw it like 20 feet or something. Just go and search. Go. Get them to use their nose, but they like it. It's natural. Good. Look, Rogue's just being stubborn. Rogue, good. No, Stella wants to do it. You want a little one. Sometimes you have to kind of play along with their game. Stella has always loved it. I mean, I could throw it quite a distance. Go on, Stella, let's find this one. See if I can do it. Good. Find. She'll go and search. Oh. She loves it. Find it. There you go. She found it. And you could do it further and further. She would search. She'd spend all day out there. Go on it. And look, see how Stella's moving. She's not exactly moving slow, is she? Good. These two lazy. Right, go on then. That's your treats gone. You just mix it up. You just do stupid things. They seem to love it. That makes sense to us. It ain't supposed to. Rogue's now what? Oh, 13 months. Getting along really well. I've had to be firm sometimes with her. She is. People look at her and go, "Oh, lovely little sweet dog." You know what I mean? Oh, so cute. They don't realise she is the rascal out of the three. She is the one that causes the problems. So I've had to be firm and stern sometimes with her, and she's responded and been much better for her. When I got her, as I say, her rule was there had been no rules, so she was a bit wild. Can you? So they all respond, and that's all you want. And they're off again. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? So yeah, I've had to be stern, as I say, a couple of times. I've had to be bossy with her. It's paid off, no end. I don't like to be too firm, but sometimes you have to lay the law down, because otherwise they'll look at her. Look, she thinks I've got more treats. Look, I'm not doing no more treats. So yeah, you normally see our adventures. You normally see. I'm so busy doing like the hiking and telling you what's been happening during the adventure. Stella, leave her, and you don't get to see much of the dogs as such, except if they're sleeping or if I'm videoing them when they're in a buffet, or you might see them on a hill or something like that. But it's nice to keep you updated. So yeah, Rogue's 13 months, doing well. Filled out as much as I don't think she's going to be a very big dog. I don't mind. That's probably perfect for me, to be honest. Rebel's a nice big solid dog, and she's kind of agile and fast and a right little monster, and she, look at her. Stella's going well. She's over 12. She was 12 in the 5th of January, so we're now first week of Feb, so yeah, she's well past 12 now. Rebel's 5.5. Whoops. See, Stella's always the boss. He's fine. He's as good as he's always been. Gentle giant, but a lot of strength. They all work out good. It all works out. So you've got like bossy but old. Rebel, Stella, what are you eating? Leave it. Go. Don't know what that was. Go, 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 go. Don't know what that was. As I say, she's old and bossy. Rebel acts the fool, but very strong. And the small one that looks the sweet one is the right so-and-so. I mean, look. It's going for hours, this would, until they more or less drop. I mean, you hear that? Did you hear it sounded like a yelp? But did she stop? No, she was still going. It's her whining and kind of getting carried away. She hasn't got that deep, snarly sound that he's got yet. That'll probably come in time. Handful, eh? Not easy dogs to handle. So if any of you are looking at this and thinking, oh, I'll get a male, I'd love one, trust me, it's not that easy. Rogue, get here. Don't know where she was going, probably to that water. Right, I'm going to lead her, and then what I do is I calm her down, and then I walk these two. They run free, but they calm down without running around like an idiot. It's kind of a cool down period, and now I'll do some training. Right, that's next. You monster. Crazy dog. All the ice on the canal. But the track is like, it's just like walking in sticky toffee pudding. It actually sticks to your bottom of your boots where it's soft. Very tacky. So I'd done a little bit of training, nothing much. I wasn't in the mood, to be honest. In a lazy mood. And they're having fun. And she's going to stab herself in the mouth if she's not careful if that sticks in the mud. Stella did that many years ago. She was walking with a stick in her mouth. Actually, you know, with the pointed end in one end of the mouth and the other end pointing downwards. And she stuck it in some mud and it actually stabbed her mouth and blood was pouring out her mouth. I spent weeks bathing it inside of her mouth with cotton wool balls and you know that is it cortisol mouthwash? It worked. It healed really well. So I don't like sticks normally in dogs' mouths. But nice spot, isn't it? It gets busy in the summer though, which is understandable. We're right on the edge of the city here. Oh, going back on some questions people raised over the last few weeks, you know, to the videos. On the recent ones, someone raised the point, how did it compare to your time, you know, in the military, you know, when you're going through them conditions with the snow and the blizzards and with the gear and everything. And, you know, we worried as such, but I got to say, you know, when I had the barrow with me and the trolley with all the kit, including wood and coal as well, I knew and I had a bivvy bag and sleeping bags. I had everything I needed, and I did have a personal locator beacon as well. I knew that even if we couldn't reach the buffet, I could dig out, you know, an area in the snow, sheltered on a bank or something, and settle down for a night. I could even start a fire, even though the conditions would be terrible, but we would be warm. You know, I could make a bedding area with the blankets, even though they would probably get damp. They wouldn't get wet because the snow was so dry going in. Coming out, I wasn't so worried. I knew we'd get there in the end. It's just how wet we were going to get. The only concern I had was that second river, as I say. That was very worrying, that was. Someone else mentioned, you know, why not get a van, drive up, kind of convert this van as such, you know, so you could sleep in it when you get to Scotland, have a rest before you actually go on your hikes. I did consider that in the early days before I got my Audi. But the point is, I'm travelling like 550, maybe 600 sometimes miles one way. The MPG on a van would be much worse than in the Audi. And the other one is, it'd probably take 2 extra hours to get in a van because you couldn't get, I don't speed, I always stick to the 70 mark, but you know, you'd be sometimes with all the kit in a van and conversion, or like you'd be thrashing the van, and as I say, that would affect the MPG. So in the end it would take me longer and it would cost me more with a van. Yes, I would get the sleep, you know, but you know, it swings and roundabouts. You're losing one end And I've got to be honest, I am, even though I complain about the 11 hours or 10-hour drive, I am getting used to it. It's amazing how your body adjusts. Coming back, not on this last one, but the one before, which was the cabin, hidden secret cabin as such at Christmas. The weather conditions were so bad. It was heavy rain and storms, and all the way down, it was chasing us all the way down. I didn't stop at all, and I did the whole drive down in 8 hours without a stop. So it just shows, and I've got to be honest, because it was so bad. I'm sorry, I'm walking like a snail here because the conditions are really bad. That would be typical, wouldn't it? Fall over on the canal and break your neck, but do all the mountains and all that without a scratch. But anyway, yeah, the conditions were that bad, you had to be so alert that it kept you awake, you know, you didn't feel tired. So I didn't see the point of stopping, letting the dogs out, getting soaked, just to give them a breather. They seemed quite content sleeping in the back. So, but as I say, that wasn't the last one. That was the one when I came from over Christmas period. 2 ducks flew out. Trying to think any others. Someone asked a few months back about ticks. You know, do you get a big issue with ticks? I don't, but the dogs do. Rebel or Stella normally have 4 or 5 each. Doesn't matter how much you search, because their fur is like they've got 3 layers. It's like a really dense white cozy fur to skin. So it doesn't matter how much you search when you're hiking, and plus they'll pick them up 10 minutes after you probably took them up anyway. So I normally wait to get home. Not the first day, let them chill. I've found the odd dead tick on a blanket, dog blanket, or even on the laminated floor, but they ain't gonna last long in the house, you know what I mean? Because I don't have a warm house. I like to be cool side, so they won't like them conditions either. And then when I've recovered, probably the second day when I've been back, I do a purge on the dogs, and I normally pull 4 or 5 off. Dogs, I haven't had any reactions from it, so I've been lucky that way as well. Trying to think any others. I do get so many questions, and I just don't, you know. Some people said, wouldn't you be better off living in Scotland? Yes, please. If I could live up there, I'd jump at the first chance. What I do is, I don't own my house, I rent a house. I'm one of these people, a house is a box to me. I like to be out in the outdoors, so hence why I got the dogs. So I spend my money on the travelling, on the adventures, kit, keep replacing kit that you need to replace, that everyday stuff that you need, you know, like you're going to need food, meals, things like that, gas, all the kind of stupid things you need. Boots when they wear out, which are not cheap, are they? I prefer to spend all my money doing the travelling and getting out than being in home, fancy curtains, latest TV. I don't know what people do, you know, replacing their rugs, or, you know, I don't know, painting their house once a year or something. It doesn't interest me. A house is my home, you know. It's not untidy. I don't think I've dusted it in months. It's just me. I'm ex-forces, I should be better, shouldn't I? But I've done it all my life. I just like to be out. You know, many people have, you know, mentioned being out and how it's good for your mind. It's so true. I've not felt as healthy as I do now since I've been doing this and doing it more and more and more, if any of that makes sense. You know, the more I do, the healthier I seem to feel mentally and within myself. I do get home, I do seize up when I stop, just like anyone else does, but I don't think you can buy that the well-being, the mental well-being. I come back and I see people in my street that have not been anywhere for years. They look miserable, they look unhappy. You always hear them shouting and arguing, and I don't know, it seems like a war zone sometimes with some of their families, but maybe they're happy in doing that. But me, the minute I get to Scotland, I switch off. I don't think of anything about home or bills or news or anything that could kind of knock you down, I just get on with them 6 days or whatever. Then when I get home, I'm normally so tired for the first few days, so again, I'm kind of recovering, so I haven't got time to kind of go, oh God, what's the latest COVID news or the war in Ukraine or something like that. And then the good thing is I normally spend a good week resting, and then I'm washing kit, sorting kit out, checking over things, make sure everything's okay and not damaged or anything. And then I'm planning again, so it doesn't stop with me. So that's what's motivating me, and that's what's and if I didn't have a car, I'd go by train or coach, or I'd do whatever I had to do, you know what I mean, to get what I want to do. There's always means if you really want to do it, isn't there? So I hope that explains, but I would say to anyone, before I do go, we'll be hitting the road soon. If you ever see my videos and you do think of doing it, please do it. Go for it. If you don't like it, you can always stop and say, it went for me. But just don't splash out on loads of kit, just do something local to your home. Even if it's hiking and not camping, give it a go, see how you feel. The first couple of times you're going to hate it, trust me, because you're going to have blisters, you're going to come back, you're going to ache. You might even I remember the early days when I started getting back into it, I couldn't even walk up the stairs, I was that stiff. Because you're not used to doing it. You switch off, your body gets lazy. But once that kicks in, the adrenaline of getting out, and you will have some bad ones, as I say, so don't worry about it. But if you've got a dog, even better. More excuse, isn't it? Right, got to put these on the lead. Don't know if you can hear, we're near the road soon. Looking at the sheep. That's something I've got to train her. If we go Peak District, I've got to start working her with. She's not had any sheep or anything like that near her. So I've got to make sure she doesn't do a chasing. She's the type to chase as well because she's so hypo. Right, I'm going to put these on the lead. Heading back into the city now. Heading for our chocolate stop. Got a chocolate, haven't we, dogs? Hey, monsters. Don't want to talk to me now. You sure? Not good for you? Started having a rest. Look at these pigs. But they love Kit Kat. This might be interesting to some of you. During COVID times, remember Oadby, Weakston and Blaby had some of the highest rates of COVID cases per population. Now we're in Weakston. Oadby's bang in front of us, about another 2 miles. Blaby's to our right, about 2 miles. But this park, see it? This little tiny park, this is the busy day when there's got about 3 or 4 people on it. This had police and security sealing the park off and establishing curfews from 7 o'clock at night. This was in late September, I'm guessing, to 7 in the morning. Oh sorry, it was 5 at night to 7 in the morning. Now I was walking across this field here, direct towards them white front houses, faced houses, and I had a security guy from the left, a security guy from the front, a security guy from the right approaching me. All, you know, clad in yellow jackets and looked like anti-stab vests and everything. They go, all the gear and all the harnesses. I thought it was police at first. And they said to me, came up to me, kind of walking quite fast towards me, said, what are you doing on the park? This is like 5:30 at night, something like that. I says, what are you on about? What am I doing on the park? And who are you? He says, they didn't pull any ID on it. They said, for security, there's a curfew. You mustn't be on the park. You shouldn't be here. I was like getting rammed with all this information. I was like, whoa, I'm just cutting through. I cut through the park. I'm not walking around the park. I'm actually cutting through, going across the field here. He says, oh no, you're not allowed to. I says, when did this curfew start? They said, oh, it's been on the internet. You should know. So I thought that was crazy. So I get to a little car park at the end there, which is where the cars are, traffic in the distance you can see moving by. They've got a dog van and there's a police car with a police officer blocking the entrance to the car park. And that's because of the local council came up with this idea that there was groups gathering on this park, gangs and people, and they were spreading COVID all around the area. And I mean, look at it. This is when there's no COVID and you know, this is busy period. At the most you get 10 people only at the most. People were going crazy with it was like a dictatorship. I could not believe it. And this went on for weeks. And the funny thing is, I was going on YouTube and I was seeing people going up mountains and, you know, still doing the wild camps, even though, you know, if they get injured, mountain rescue got to get called out, or they might end up in hospital or something like that. You know, and yet I couldn't walk through a park, this size park, look at that, after 5 o'clock in the evening, which is probably the quieter times, to be honest, again, and I'm only a mile from the house. So if you can figure that one out, that shows how balmy and how crazy things went during the COVID times. But there was uproar, people were complaining, they're saying this is way too heavy-handed. So imagine my disgust, you know, I couldn't even walk through my local park and we were all getting pushed out on the street. So you got people walking up and down the busy street. You can only get 2 people at the best because of the traffic and all that. So we're all bumping into each other. That's what's probably spreading the COVID more than us walking on the grass here. But yeah, that's why I was up in arms at times. I was so annoyed. I was watching people climbing mountains, several, I don't know, hundreds of feet in the air, in ice and snow and God knows what else, dangerous conditions, and I couldn't even walk across a park because people, the local council said there was gangs gathering around it. But look at it. I'll be honest, unless there was a school football match going on, something like that, which obviously during COVID times they weren't because they stopped all that, you wouldn't have no groups here. You might have a couple of kids on that little playground. They see that exercise equipment, I don't know if you can see it, light green to my left. They had that all taped off because they're scared people were touching it and then spreading the disease. It's just gone beyond the joke. So you've seen the centre of where everything was happening and curfews were imposed and everything. This was it. How crazy, eh? Right. I hope you enjoyed our local walk today. On that note, ended with a bit of craziness here. You saw a chocolate stop about a mile from the mile from the house. What's the time on there? We've done 7.5, just over 7.5, 3 hours and 2 minutes. Be about 3 hours 20 by the time we get back, and it'll be close to 8 miles. If not, it's normally 8.2. Right, they're tugging me because they want call of nature. I've got to let them have one before. But here we go. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed it. I won't be doing this all the time. It was just to show you what we get up to during the week. So until the next adventure, I shall say goodbye. Goodbye.